Hi everybody, it's Collins a Joke at Collins a Joke Real Life Experience. Today I'm at Sherry Gardens. It's an amazing place. It's an amazing spot that before winter begins officially, please take time and come around. I have a special guest in the house today. I am so excited to have her and I am so honored and privileged to have her, and she will tell us who she is. We'll carry on from there. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Collins. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'm a person with a lived experience, and I'm a community worker graduate. I've been a peer support person. I've supported a lot of people with mental health and addiction.
Yeah.
And I want to take my experience of what I've been through and what I've overcome to try to help and give others support and hope.
Oh, and what's your name?
My apologies. My name is Leslie.
You don't have to apologize. This is a free space. We are free and we are so open to having anything move on.
Canadian born and raised.
Yes.
I feel that with my situation, I've had a lot of really supportive opportunities, and I've been really lucky in my journey with mental health and other issues that I've struggled with and overcome.
Talk about mental health and talk about lived experience.
For me, there's a lot of times when I felt like giving up. Some people, I know for me personally, I had that feel sorry for myself, pity party times, questioning, why me? Why did this happen to me? What did I do to deserve this?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's not something that you can really control. I live with bipolar disorder, which is a chemical imbalance. That can be brought on by a traumatic experience. It can be genetic. It's just one of those things that happens.
Yeah.
I do come from a family with a history of mental health. Luckily, because of that, I've had a lot of support from my family, and they do have a large understanding of what the situation is.
Wow. Wow, Leslie, I'm so happy that you're so open to sharing such a lived experience. What is the most turning point that you've had in your life and you feel at that point I made a very great decision to forget about my trouble and move on in life?
I think there's been a couple points in my life where I've been in that situation. When I was 16, I was in a relationship where I survived domestic violence.
Wow.
And I think because at that time I had no self-esteem, and I believed that what I was experiencing and going through was my fault. And I was led to believe that by that person. I think me personally, I felt that there was nothing better out there. I think I just woke up one day and thanked God for my faith. And I felt like I was getting direction from the God that I believe in, telling me that I had a choice coming up, and it was either to stay in my situation or move forward. And I basically woke up one day and knew it was time to move on, and I took the clothes on my back and $20 in my pocket, and I never looked back. And that was over 30 years ago.
Wow. Surviving domestic violence at an early age and deciding to walk away, just one morning carrying your bags and leaving, that took a lot of courage.
I think it may have been easier for me because I never had children. I think it's a whole different story when children are involved.
Leslie, many people are so much stuck in relationship. If we can a little bit get stuck onto relationship. Many people are stuck onto relationship, and many people are undergoing abuse. You just put everything in a round basket when you said the person made you believe they had control over you and they had everything. You would not have a life without them.
Yeah.
Those are relationships I come across these days that I hear. There's too much abuse, and one party makes the other believe that without them they can't live, because it's even irrespective of them having children. We are putting kids out of this equation, like it's relationship, living in a country or living in a part of this world where there is too much loneliness. When you find someone, part of your life is complete. Because you have someone to wake up to call, you have somebody to talk to, you have somebody to share with. everything that you have,
Yeah.
including your day at work, including your day at school, including your family, including all your stories, things that made you happy, things that made you sad. But now here, someone comes up one time and starts misbehaving and starts inflicting pain on you, and which pain is not actually only physical pain.
No, I think, I mean, the physical pain for me and the like physical scars,
Yeah.
they heal. But
Yeah.
it took me years.
Yeah.
It's the emotional scars that sometimes never go away. As difficult as it is, I look back and I'm grateful every single day that I had the courage,
Yeah.
because a lot of women don't get that opportunity. And finding some kind of comfort in knowing that I did deserve respect and I was a human being and that I didn't deserve to be treated the way I was. And it was very eye-opening for me. But yeah, when you have no self-esteem, sometimes you believe that this is the best it is. And when you have somebody repeating that to you, you just give up. So I'm grateful that, yeah, like I said, I just felt like I was getting a message from God that it was time for me to leave and make the choices and take the steps to make my life better. And I'll never look back from that. I'm always grateful.
Wow, this is a great lesson for us. I mean, don't be in a place where you're not loved.
No.
And this is why I keep on encouraging us to self-love. Because when you self-love, many times it's easy for you to realize that you can move on. What is the biggest lesson learned from surviving domestic violence at an early age of 16?
I think for me, it helped me realize that I was worth more and that I deserved to be treated better. I think I'd always struggled with self-confidence. So I was in a situation where I didn't feel I deserved any better, and I just stayed. I think a huge part of it also was guilt. I felt responsible that, you know, that person wasn't very happy. And I was afraid to talk about it. You know, I hid things from family and friends. But just waking up one day and realizing, it was like I was getting a message from, from God, with my faith, that I had two choices to make, that I could either stay in the situation I was in or move forward and make my life better. And I made that choice almost 30 years ago, and I haven't looked back since.
I'm learning a lot, actually. Every time I have such interactions, such conversations, it's a lesson for me. Self-worth. I am thinking about self-worth, self-love, and confidence in yourself. There is nobody created in this world that is supposed to compare to your own. You are the best that God has created in His own image. And we should learn to love ourselves. Sometimes we go through situations like abuse and harassment and stigma because we accept or allow other people to underlook us, to make us feel we are not worthy. I think in a relationship, you all matter. Everyone is important. And this is what we should learn. And talking about your situation, reaching out for help is important. Nobody should make you feel like you should die in the movie alone. Because, case in example, if you got a mental breakdown, do you think they'll end there? They'll move on, right?
Of course.
They'll find somebody else to suppress. That was so courageous of you at that age to wake up one morning with $20 in your bag.
$20 in my pocket and the clothes on my back. And
so where did you go to?
I had a friend who a few weeks prior, where I was working at the time, I would talk very highly of the relationship I was in because I didn't want to admit how bad it was. And the friend that would come in, I immediately said he knew that, I wasn't happy. He could just tell, because every time my partner would come in where I worked, my whole demeanor would change. I wasn't smiling anymore, which was my usual self.
The real you was showing up.
Yeah. And he said, if you ever decide to come from that situation, please reach out for help and I'll always be there.
Oh,
And that's what I ended up doing. And then I just reached out to my family like a couple of days later, and they were extremely happy. They were never happy about me in the relationship.
wow.
And yeah, so after 16 years, I found the courage, thanks to God and my family and my friend, and here I am today.
Wow. Finding support from a friend, finding support from a family, finding support. That is amazing, by the way. And why do you say you found this support? Because you reached out?
I think I finally got over the fear, because all the time that I was in that situation, there was a fear of, because my partner had said, numerous times, like, if you ever try to leave, like, I will hurt you, and I'll come and look for your family and I'll hurt them. And because I'm so close to my family, that was the hardest thing to hear.
Wow.
And a lot of the fear that I had was based on that. So I continued to stay. And again, I was hiding things about how bad my situation was. So I just continued to stay.
When do you decide to go back to school?
I had left school when I was about 15 years old. I just felt like at that time I was just starting this relationship. I felt, at that time I knew it all, and who needs an education?
No,
Right?
you got the answer.
Got the answer. And,
Wow.
I never had support from my partner for all those years. And anytime I did try to go back to school, he always downplayed it. So I always left. And after I left, the first thing I did was go back and do my GED. And then I decided, once I did that, I took some training courses with a women's program for survivors of domestic violence, which was through Goodwill Business Training Center.
Oh.
From there, I went to George Brown, and they had an academic bridging program for people with mental health and addiction. I did that, and then the next step was to decide, did I want to pursue more education or go to work? And at the time, they thought that it'd be good for me to take the cooking program, because I love to cook. However, I love doing that for family and friends, but they had the community worker program. And at that time, I knew that there was something inside that I wanted to help other people because of all the support I felt I had. And it just felt like that was my journey.
And the knowledge that you had acquired out of the domestic violence that you had. So you go to school and you come out and you're mentally stable and better.
There was ups and downs.
Yeah.
It was a 2-year program, and the school, George Brown, was amazing. A lot of supports for people with mental health and addiction. And at that time, there were things happening. I lost one of my sisters very early, and my father was diagnosed with colon cancer. So my depression kind of relapsed.
So challenging. Yeah.
And luckily, the school gave me time, and they let me take some time off, and they changed it to a 3-year program instead at no cost. And then, unfortunately, I had a major relapse with my mental health, and I couldn't go back. I was also doing some administrative work on and off for almost 10 years at that time, which took a toll. And yeah, I had a very severe relapse, and I ended up not going back to complete my program. And that was probably one of the darkest times in my life with my mental health. I ended up being almost 4 years in a catatonic state. I had given up hope completely.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a really challenging time.
When did you come out of relapse? What pushed you? What opened up about how you had seen things for you to decide to say, no, I am starting and I have to move on?
I think in the past, it seemed like 5-6 years was my time frame of having relapses with my mental health. But the last time, which was almost 12 years ago, was definitely by far the hardest.
Yeah.
I basically, every day that I woke up, I was disappointed, I will say. I was very suicidal at the time. And I prayed, to God, like, please let me fall asleep and not wake up again. And this went on and on for almost 4 years. And not once did I truly look around and see what was happening with my family and my friends. And I think what really shook me and took me to kind of start like fighting to get out was I was sitting having a conversation with my father. And my mother was quite sick as well at the time. And they were older. And he sat and cried. And he said that he just didn't know what would happen if, you know, he'd passed away, what would happen and who would take care of me and my mom. So I think that just really hit my heart. And I started to realize my mom was still alive.
She was not well. She was
she was pretty sick.
Yeah.
And they were much older at the time. They were in their 80s.
Oh.
I was, you know, I came along much later in their lives. But just seeing my father cry, which he never did a lot, and just hearing those words really hit my heart. And I knew, like, this is really affecting my family and I need to reach out and get help and I need to, like, get over this.
So that was the first time you sat back and thought about your family and how it really mattered to you.
And the damage that it was doing to them.
The damage you had caused to them.
Yeah.
Wow.
And how lucky I was to have them there to support me the entire time.
I know. From running from home to going into a relationship they didn't support. And then you come back and they are all hands are open just to receive you.
Always.
Wow.
Always.
And then they give you full support. Yeah. And at one point you break down, you don't even look back. But still they are so open to loving you.
Yeah.
Love is real. Let's keep on loving people, by the way. If her family and friends had stayed in a place of condemning her, blaming her, finding fault on her, I don't think we would have you, Leslie, here today.
I would have never survived what I think I went through had I not had the love and support of my family, their understanding. I've had a lot of friends and I've met a lot of amazing people as well and mentors through the years who've also been there for me. A lot of community help, like CAMH has been amazing. I've had a lot of help with different outpatient programs through their mood disorders clinic. I've done a lot of online programming through like a local Christian community center, which is called Young Street Mission. A lot of virtual support from CAMH. And I've always realized how important it is to reach out for help.
Yes.
Because even though there were times when I was ashamed early on, I came to realize that talking about it and acknowledging what I was living with was only going to help me move forward and get better.
Leslie, if you had anything to change about life and 30 years back, what would that be?
Honestly, I wouldn't change a thing because I don't believe, Collins, I would be the person I am today had I not experienced everything.
After your experience and all that you've seen, give a word to somebody who is suffering addiction, relapse, and they try to rise up a little bit and fall back. What advice would you give them?
First and foremost, as difficult as it might feel, always reach out for help. As scary as it can be, always share your story with somebody because there's always somebody there. You're never alone. There's always somebody there to listen and, you know, lend a helping hand and give you that shoulder to cry on and that ear. Never, ever lose hope.
This is specifically to a person in a relationship, a man, a woman, a boy, a girl, and they cannot come out. It's been built around their world that talking about your story brings shame. What message would you give them?
The biggest message, have hope. Don't give up and just have faith. If you know, pray on it, whatever faith you believe in, and just use a little or a lot of positive dialogue, because I think as you build your strength up on the inside, you definitely gain strength.
It manifests on the outside.
It manifests on the outside.
This is for those who have given up on life because they didn't go to school, they are growing older, and they need a job. But everywhere you go to, they need to see a diploma. They need to see a certificate. What word of encouragement would you give to them?
I mean, I was 15 years old when I dropped out of school. I worked in coffee shops, donut shops, factories for like, $5, $6 an hour. And then because I took a chance and I took a risk, 40 years old, I decided to go into college. And then at 50 years old, I graduated. So it's never too late. And, look for those resources, ask for the help. There's never a time when it's too late to reach out and get help or make changes or look for something that you want to maybe accomplish in your life.
Biggest satisfaction and accomplishment that you've acquired?
Oh my God. So
Sitting
many.
back to think about where you came from and where you are today, that would encourage someone that there is hope at the end of the tunnel and light.
Biggest one probably, after 16 years, I walked away from an abusive relationship and I survived it.
That was a tick.
Second, that, I've had this emotional roller coaster of living with depression, anxiety, and bipolar disorder. And I've survived, and I'm here today to talk about it. And it's not been perfect, but I am here to talk about it.
Amazing.
And at 50 years old, I graduated college with a diploma and honors.
I am so honored to have you, by the way, at Collins Ajok Real Life Experience. I'm out of words. She just said it all. She just rounded up everything as we keep on hearing. Self-care, self-love, creating the joy from the inside and making things manifest on the outside. If you say negative, negative will show up. If you positively speak to yourself from the inside, you will come out as a winner. Everybody has a walk. Everyone has a challenge. Everyone goes through a hard part in their life. Everyone has a tunnel, has a story. But how do they come out to be special people like Leslie? They found a time and reached out for help. Reaching out for help is something so important that everybody of us needs in whatever situation. The challenge may be at your workplace. The challenge may be in your relationship. The challenge may be about your healthy status. Talk to someone, find help. We need to be well because we are on a mission impacting the generation now and the generation to come. How do we do that? Speak aloud, come out of abuse. Last message to our viewers, Leslie.
There's always somebody there to listen. Have hope. You can overcome. I'd like to say I'm living proof of that. Thank you for listening and thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I am so grateful. Stay tuned
Collins.
at Collins Ajok Real Life Experience, where everybody matters and amazing and wonderful people show up here every day. Subscribe to Collins Ajok Real Life Experience. Follow us. Send in your comment. Send in a request for anything you feel that can be touched. You're going through a situation and you need somebody to talk to. Reach out. Collins Ajok Real Life Experience. See you another time. Love you so much.